this. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Could have just driven you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So, my inspiration for the whole suite was basically a snowy cabin in the forest. That was kind of the picture I had in my head.
Sorry, what?
Go on. Wait, please. Oh, wait, go ahead. It was a snowy cabin in the forest. That's the picture that I had in my head. Not that I wanted to look like a snowy cabin, but that's where I got all my the textures and the colors and all the inspiration from. So,
Can you tell us about your target?
yes, I was just going to get there. My target is a single professional, divorced, or even just a single person not divorced. Doesn't matter.
We call those restarts.
Yeah,
with or without baggage.
yeah, with or without, doesn't matter. I figured divorced because most likely somebody who's divorced is going to want to move into a fully furnished home. So that's kind of why I was thinking of that. So, and yeah, male or female. I tried to make it unisex, so either or can like it. And I really wanted it to be very warm and modern at the same time, and cozy. So that's kind of what I was going for.
It smells very piney in here.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's maybe it's the candles. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very nature inspired. So I've got lots of like nature elements in here. For example, this.
Where did you get that piece of art?
I got it from HomeSense.
Really?
Yeah, it was a good find. It's one of my favorite pieces actually in the whole suite. I really love this art piece. The table was from Nude as well as the stools there, and I really wanted the place to look lived in already. Like lots of storage, I think is really important, and so like this kind of divides the living room and the dining room. And, yeah, so sofa was from the Brick, and these actually are really cool. These little Moroccan proofs I got from the Cross in town. I got 2 of them, so you can move them around, and my target was somebody who loves to entertain, so I thought these were really great because they have people over, can move around. And
Okay, I'm taller than you. I'm trying to try this.
yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. Little low.
Perfect.
There you go.
We have these in our house, and our kids love them.
So here's the den here, also more storage as well. And sheets should be pulled out. I really love the map. I think that's. And this shelving actually, I thought a lot about this corner because it's kind of awkward, and also thinking about storage, I thought it would be cool just to do the floating shelves.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Lots of different pictures in it. My little sister actually, she photographed all of the.
First of all, just talking about your target market and stuff. You were talking about sort of a single, maybe divorced person, either male or female. I think you've totally nailed it for more the feminine side of things. The masculine, I'm not sure if you kind of nailed it. But other than that, I think you've done a really great job of someone who is wanting to start new, who needs a fresh sort of palette to start a new life. I think what's nice is that you've really shown not what this can evolve into, but what like it's sort of self-actualized.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a lot going on. That's the one thing we all notice is that for the budget, you've got a lot of layering, and maybe depending on your take on things, maybe you could lose a few pieces. But I think to show somebody who's coming from that, like what you're talking about, coming from a real lifestyle change, to come in and say, okay, this is my new life, totally complete, is perfect, nailed it, perfect. So that's really, really great. I love the fact that you, one has big punches of color. We thought that the dining room was really successful. This was great. The artwork, I think, is absolutely perfect proportionally, and I like the fact that it's not a heavy color or a really heavy visual image, because it's the dimension of that draws your eye. Maybe we all thought, oh, don't say it came from HomeSense, but it did. We realized on these kind of budgets you have to do that.
Exactly.
But I think the most,
the
most important thing is that you recognize that this sort of dimension is exactly what this wall needed. The fixture here is IKEA.
Yes. Yeah.
It's maybe a little a little busy.
Okay.
It seems like I'm focusing on all the negatives, but they're really.
Yeah, we think that you
overall, I
did a really
think
good
it's
use
really
of
great.
space, right? That was our one take, because we've just come from another suite and into this, and just to see two different interpretations on how to furnish the suite, because this is a tricky suite to furnish, right?
Yeah.
But we thought you had a really good use of space. Like you had nice
Absolutely.
scaled furniture, nothing seems, out of scale. And the fact that you've
That's
divided the
brilliant,
space, that's a great use of
Yeah.
space, for adding more storage into a storage challenged unit. Not that this is a storage challenged unit. Yeah. But no, it's a small space, right? So it's nice to see that you've done that. It's a thing for me not to have something behind a sofa where you just have a sofa sort of plunked into the middle of a
It's kinda
space,
nice
unless it's
over.
a big space and it can kind of handle it. When a sofa's just sort of standing there all by itself and it looks like it's just been plunked, this is a nice division of the
Totally.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And putting a lighting element. I mean, we're here in the daytime, but at night, this is going to delineate
Yeah.
so much.
So you've managed to get a lot of furniture in here. So the placement, we all thought that you did a really good job with the placement. And there's still great flow in here, even with
Yeah.
all the furniture, so it's going to work for entertaining too.
Yeah.
So I think you've really thought that through. Obviously with the dinner party that's happening tonight, apparently.
And the floating corner shelf, I mean, a total dead space in the apartment that you picked up on and put great storage. Really, really good.
And from a color continuity, in a small space, and I've been saying this through, I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, but it is important in a small space, I think, to have that palette sort of continue through, and we get the story that you were trying to tell with that.
Yeah.
So good job on that. For me, I think you did a really great job.
Thank you.
And I know it's challenging and really tough and a very time-consuming thing to go and do, and to find all the perfect things that are going to fit perfectly in your budget,
Yeah.
which was a tough budget,
It
right?
was.
Yeah.
No, I like how you at times just let these big feature walls be the statement there, and then complementing that with something like what's behind you, knowing that, okay, now I need something that's really neutral, just black and white photograph, simple white shelf. I don't need to make any more color statements here because there's enough else going
Right,
on.
and the transparency of the chairs really helps too, lighten up this
Yeah,
whole
that's a good
area.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
And your little salon gallery style wall there.
I love that.
Love that. That can go terribly wrong. Finding the balance and composition of those, along with the interesting artwork. I mean, it has to sort of work as a whole, but also invite you in to these little smaller things.
And Matthew, you learned something.
I
from-
did on your weblog with the laying out in the vellum.
Yes, yeah. It was something I learned too. I mean, I learned a lot from doing everything here.
Because I always lay it out and then take a photograph
Yeah.
and then kind of figure it out from
Yeah.
there. But the vellum is a really
Great idea.
great idea and resourceful in the sense that you've got a lot to do.
Yeah.
So you can't spend half a day planning all those
Figuring
little,
it out, yeah.
Yeah, that's a time consumer just
Yeah.
right there.
totally.
Hello, yeah. For me, what I would like to have seen a little bit differently was just, it comes down to an editing, just removing a couple accessories. It's a little bit over accessorized for me, but the accessories that you do have are great accessories and well chosen, because that's a tricky thing too. But I would have just taken out, maybe walked through and maybe just taken out a couple things just to clean it up a little bit.
The bedding and the sort of the applique on the wall. I'm not sure. I think either one's got to go.
Okay.
But I love the sort of leafy kind of bolster thing. I think that's really fun texture. Knowing to have everything else behind that really straightforward and simple. I like the headboard.
And we like that you knew when to go black and white with your art too,
Absolutely.
in here and also in the other room, when there were enough color statements happening already.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of this kind of green, or even more chartreuse kind of stuff. But I think a lot of people, like if a client would never come and say, I want this color, but if you present it like you have, everyone's gonna love it. I have an apartment that I rent out, and it has similar kind of colors, and everyone at first they walk in, they go, oh, I don't know, and I go, well, I'll repaint it if you want, and they never do. They always keep it because it's great.
And we like this chair as well. We thought that
Yeah, I
was
love this chair too. It was one of my favorites.
a nice statement chair for this
Yeah.
room.
But again, all this stuff, it's a little feminine. Like I think if a guy, a man who's just recently divorced, I'm not sure Although that being said, you could pull a lot of the top layer off the pillows. You could get rid of that, and you know, put something else in it. I think it could be quite quickly more of a masculine space.
Right, because a lot of her textiles though have a lot of texture to them, and they do feel more masculine. The tweeds and those kinds of things. So really, it could work either way. Yeah.
Where'd you get that map?
Yeah.
I don't think
Map.
it's weird that I noticed it's an Australian-centric map.
Yeah, I got the map from Aesthetically Presentable.
Just
Like,
shows
oh,
that
my
you're,
color palette's good.
You're always thinking.
it just shows you're always thinking you're making,
Yeah.
you realize you have a choice, and,
Yeah.
and there's value in that choice.
And I like the fact that you didn't find it at a design store, is that you actually went out and sourced that with that idea in mind. So that's
Yeah.
great.
Great. Really good job.
Yeah.